I'm in 10th place, and I'm still in front of Justin Packard. Kevin Green. They always say the third time is the charm, and that is the case tonight, as this is our third attempt to record the League of Dicks podcast, the most competitive fantasy baseball league in North America. We've come through the entire season, and we are winding up, getting close to playoff time. And I am here with the podcast that everyone wanted. I have on the line Mr. Scott Jameson and Mr. Craig Chimnikaker. How do you pronounce your last name, Craig?
Trip Mocker.
Trip what?
Trip Mocker, like Schumacher.
But Trip?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were you bullied as a child?
No, not really.
No? All right. Scott, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Kevin?
I'm doing all right. I think we need to just kind of start off. Scott, I know we talked for a second. I'm going to get to these questions with you, but I just need to start off with Craig. Craig, who are you?
I was friends with Darren's brother, and that's it. That's basically my story.
Who have you met in this league?
I'm still friends with Darren's brother.
Who have you met in this league?
Darren.
So you haven't met anyone in this league?
Well, no, yeah, I guess not. No, except for Darren, but he's not in it anymore.
Do you find that to be strange?
No, I don't know. No, not really.
What about considering the fact that you lived off the 7 train, and Jay and I both lived off the 7 train for years?
Well, I've only been off the 7 train for about 2 years now, so I don't know if we even overlapped.
Oh, there was a year overlap. There was over.
All right, well, it's something that, I never knew.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, this is very jarring to me, as I still am not sure if I'm talking to Craig or Charlie. So this really is. It's a very interesting experience for me, this moment. Well,
you'll be okay.
Craig, why don't you just talk to us a little bit about, I guess your fantasy philosophy, like when it comes to.
I usually, I put like my most effort into. I try to put the most effort into the draft. I guess like everybody does, but I don't know. I was pretty happy with my draft.
Okay.
For the most part, I left with like some money, and I got like 1 or 2 bad picks, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't make that many moves during the year. I like to try to get strong pitching and stuff.
Right.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of pitching or just players in general to be picked up the first like week or two. I don't know. Yeah, and then I just kind of ride it out. I mean, make changes where I need to, but I don't know. I probably picked up Daniel Murphy like 3 or 4 times this year for some reason.
Are you a Mets fan?
Yeah.
You are. That explains your kinship with Darren.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Okay, so that's a little getting. Where were you born?
In New York.
You were born in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and how do you feel about this particular season in fantasy?
This particular season?
Yeah. Are you? I mean, do you think you got a shot? What are you? You're how many games back on the road?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm not going to make. I don't think I'm going to make it unless something like, I don't know. I'm a couple behind Brian, but I don't know. If the Rook killed Brian, I probably could make it in. Brian's killing Rook right now, so I don't know. I don't think I'm going to make it. I think I'm going to just miss it.
So
again,
what do you need? What do you need matchup-wise as we kind of head towards Sunday to happen?
I don't know. I think Rook could pull ahead possibly. I don't know. Basically I'm working with a fucking iPad, so I can't even pull up Stat Tracker. So I don't know. I'm like living in the dark ages here.
Okay, that explains a lot actually over the past few years.
Yeah,
it really does. Okay,
well, I'm working off an iPhone and stuff.
Yeah, well, we'll leave that as kind of the getting to know you here, and now I gotta turn my attention to Scott, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so just hang tight, and then we'll open it up towards the end here. But I just got to ask Scott a couple questions. Scott, you there?
I am here.
All right. Number one. Sorry if I'm a little distracted right now. I got Yankees were down 7-2 in this game. It's now 7-6. A-Rod is up with runners on second and third with one out.
Hey, are you gonna pull our matchup close?
I actually, you know what? I think I'm going to trade A-Rod for PV again. I'm gonna flip that around. But no, here's the thing. You refused to go on the air after you lost to Brian. You dodged us, and I don't understand why. Why are you afraid of him? Like, what was the psychology behind that decision?
There was no dodging. That week I had a mediation, work. You guys just set times, expected me to be there. It didn't work out. There's no dodging of Brian.
No dodging of Brian?
Nope.
None whatsoever?
None. Why would there be?
Are you scared of him? Are you a frightened little boy?
I am not scared of Brian.
No. All right, well then, let me ask you this. You're going to be the number one seed, correct?
It's looking that way.
I mean, you're going to beat me unless A-Rod, well, he just struck out, so whatever. But here's what is interesting to me. Of the playoff teams, you have a great record, but you lost twice to Brian, or you lost twice to Ryan, you lost to Brian, and you lost once to the Rook.
Lost twice to Brian.
Twice to Ryan, and twice to
Brian.
Yeah, twice to Brian, and one time to the Rook. So what does that say?
5 losses.
What does that say about your chances in the playoffs?
It says I better get my act together by the playoffs, I think.
What does that mean? You've made 500 moves when everyone's just kind of sitting back on their heels making a few. Now everyone's going to be making those same 500 moves, so how does that mean you get your act together?
We'll see. I'm just grinding the season out.
We'll
see what happens in the playoffs. We'll see when everyone's streaming. I stream all year, sometimes. So we'll see what happens.
You don't think your first place record was at all inflated?
Inflated by what?
By your exorbitant amount of moves that no one else made.
Well, if other people couldn't make those moves, then maybe it would. I make moves. It's part of my strategy.
Yeah, well, apparently. This is the most boring answers I've ever heard. You said nothing interesting in that entire 10 minutes.
I'm sorry, I'm pretty vanilla. I don't know what you want out of me.
I just want you to be a human. It's like you're an athlete after the game. You're like sitting there, well, you just one day at a time, keep my head down, play hard.
Cliches. Yeah, that's right.
All right, so I'm going to ask both of you this. Who are your top 3 managers then going into the playoff match?
So out of the 6?
Yeah.
Well, of course I'm in the top 3. I think Seth's in the top 3, honestly. Just this comes down to a week to week, right? It doesn't matter how people draft, how people trade. That's all out.
No, I want to talk specifically. And Craig, this is open up to you as well. I want to talk specifically playoff managers. Who do you think has the ability to really pull ahead in this kind of the stretch run there?
Craig, you
probably
want to go?
Brian. Brian, I would put up there. Scott's having a really good year.
Sorry, Lyle Overbay just got a single, 2 runs scored. Yankees are up 8-7. No one cares except for me because I'm not in fantasy league right now. Continue. Brian and who?
I guess Scott too. He's been looking good all year. It's hard to discredit.
Hard?
He's got a good strategy.
We'll see if it works out. For me, Seth's always dangerous.
There, I put myself right up there too, I think.
Craig's been hot. He's probably one of the hottest teams in the league. So if he snuck in,
Craig, hold on, Craig.
What?
You got Brian. You got Seth. You got Mark. You got the 3. You have, I don't know, what is that? 7 or 8 championships in there, and you've only mentioned Brian as the only, it's you and Scott are the other 2 that are the top managers?
I don't know. Listen, it's always tight. It's hard to say. I don't know. I don't know.
That's it. I don't know. That's it. Should be the name of this podcast. I don't know. Scott,
Yeah.
what are you about your three?
It's like, I don't know. It's so much. I don't know. It's like you pick up some like weird players and they get hot. It's like it's so hard to tell you, especially with all the streaming and everything. It's really hard to predict. It's like way harder than regular baseball. I don't know. You never know whose team's going to wind up. Who's from week to week. Picking up players that get hot. It's hard. I don't know. Scott's on a good run. He's like the hot hand. I don't know.
Well,
you understand what I'm saying?
I do. It's hard, and you don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
perfect.
Yeah. Scott, go ahead, brother.
So here's where I'm at. Obviously, I think I'm in the top three. I like my team. I like my strategy. I think it'll work in the playoffs. You guys don't, but we'll see what happens. My other two would be Seth. I don't love his team, but from what I've seen week to week, he knows what he's doing. He knows how to stream. He knows what he's got to do to win a matchup.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Brian's Brian, right? He's all right. But for me, I would put Ryan up there. I like his squad. I think he's done a good job this year. He hasn't proven it. I get that. He's, never won a playoff matchup.
Yeah.
He should have a bye unless he bucks it away.
Well, I think that's what makes these playoffs really interesting to me is that you kind of have this, with Justin and myself out of the mix, you kind of have the new guard and the old guard, right? You have the traditional powers such as the Brian and the Mark and the Seth in the dance. Then you got the new guys who are trying to prove themselves. I'm not counting the rookie because we all know he's not going to even win his first matchup, but
his team's tough, man. I would not rule him out.
I would in every single way.
His RP gets hot. He's got 5 categories.
I don't care. He has no idea what the playoffs entail. I will be shocked if he won a playoff matchup.
Well, he used to have Trout. That would have made him a little tougher, but
yeah. But my point is, that's what I find really fascinating is that if Scott, if you take it down, or Ryan takes it down, or who else is in the playoffs? The rookie. Well, never mind. So if you or Ryan take it down, it's like this old guard and new guard kind of thing. How do you think you stack up against that? Do you think that you have the chops to do it, or talk about you and Ryan and what you think about your two chances?
I mean, we've been at the top all year. I mean, like Craig said, Chris David gets hot, wins you a championship. Troy Tulowitzki has a September like he did a couple years ago. He wins you a championship. But I mean, our teams have been good all year. Ryan's looking tough with Miggy potentially, sitting out games down the stretch. And,
that's huge. That's huge.
Yep. And I think he lost Craig today. I think he got hurt. But
now, if I'm not sure if I know this now, but a potential. Now, did he drop Cruz?
Yeah, he dropped Cruz.
He dropped Cruz because I wasn't sure if Cruz was going to be able to make it back for the last week or not.
I think it's just for the playoffs, but I could be wrong.
Okay. Because that could be really, really, really interesting in terms of when someone tries to make that pickup for one of those suspended guys, because I think they might have a game or two they come back for. And if on the Saturday or Sunday of the finals, if someone added Nelson Cruz and he comes and hits a jack on one of those last 2 days, I think that would be really, really interesting.
Yeah, that should be difficult. I mean, he's not going to have any minor league games to play in. I mean, just coming right off his couch.
It'll be all simulated, but
yeah,
it's going to be one of those things that'll be very interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, the championship this year is only a week long, too, which I don't think is typical. So
it's not longer than that? It's not a week and a half or anything?
No, it's a week, straight week this year. So I guess the season just worked out that way. So it'll be a push to the finals.
Oh, that sucks. That sucks. See, I haven't looked at the playoffs at all because I've been so far behind.
For good reason.
Yeah. But that's unfortunate. I mean, there's nothing like, since I am the defending champion until I'm, officially eliminated, which I think has already happened.
Yeah, exactly.
But those 2 week, a big reason why there's such a letdown, at least for me, and it's happened 2 times after I've won. It's because what it takes, that final 2 week stretch, that last matchup, what it takes to actually pull it together, and the hours that you don't sleep, staying up till 3 a.m. to make those changes, which, Scott, you wouldn't have to worry about.
Yeah, that's right.
But the last thing you want to think about after you, like Jay brought a little bottle of champagne for me last year after I won. And the last thing I wanted to think about was baseball until like June. And it turns out that's what I did. The last thing I thought about was baseball until June.
Hello?
Yeah, sorry, Craig lives under...
Sorry.
It's okay.
7 train.
He lives under a train with an iPad in a tent.
Yeah.
It's a grind, though. It's a grind. I hear what you're saying.
It is. I have a couple of... Brian, actually, he gave me some user-submitted questions for you, Scott. So can I go ahead and give those...
Brian has an obsession problem, I think.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's one serious one, and then there's a couple that are probably serious to Brian, but I find to be tongue-in-cheek. So I'll go with the serious one. Are you? He seems to wants to know if you're scared to trade with the veterans, because you haven't really made a lot of moves with veteran players. Most of your trades happen with the younger regime.
Well, I traded for Trout last year with Jay.
Well, okay. Is Jay a veteran? I still think of him as a rookie.
I guess he's been in the league a long time, but
Yeah.
I guess he's a playoff rookie.
I mean, I think if you make the playoffs, you get like dog years. You know what I mean? Whereas Jay's in like straight human years. Everyone else has been in the league for 21 years, and Jay's been in it for like 7.
And Seth, who has his 10 playoff matchups, he said years.
Yep.
He's 30-something.
Yeah, he's getting old, getting up there. Well, you made it okay. So you made a trade with Jay, which is arguably like taking candy from a baby.
True.
Really.
I made a trade with, this year I don't know if I have. Last year I traded with Brian. I traded with Seth. This year I guess I traded with Travis. I mean, I can't turn down deals like Travis was giving me, the Rook gave me. What do you want me to do with that?
No, I mean, you got to take them. I guess you got to take them. But did making those trades say, you know what, did it change your philosophy to saying, I'm only going to take trades if they're really, really, really good to the level that I was offered by these other managers?
Well, I mean, I traded with you early on in the year.
True.
Traded Cano.
True.
So, once I established the team was, first, second for the majority of the year, I didn't need to make big moves, I felt, to, sure anything up. I mean, similar to what Justin did, but it obviously didn't work out for him. I didn't really feel like I needed to make big moves. Now, Trout move just kind of made sense, worked out. Hopefully it does work out with Cargo.
Yeah.
Staying on the DL, although I think he's coming back. But
now, Craig, did you make any real big splashes at the trade deadline?
No, I didn't. I really only made like one real trade this year. I traded Austin Jackson.
What were your thoughts coming up to the deadline? Did you think about making a move? What were you trying to get? What was the?
I don't know. It's like I don't know. Brian was really pushing to make some moves with me, but I don't know. It just didn't feel right. I felt like my offense was like pretty good, and
if Brian's pushing a move,
I love Peralta, and I don't know. I didn't think there was like a good shortstop out there. Really, like replace them, and I don't know. I always think a shortstop is more of like speed position, so I figured there's somebody else I could probably roll with. I don't know. I didn't feel like giving up like some of my better players, like Adam Jones or something, for like half-rate shortstop and like a shitty arm. So I don't know. I just kind of stuck with what I have. I've never made a lot of trades, but you guys might know that or not.
So is the takeaway here, Craig, that you don't
I
know?
didn't get any good offers, really, and I not only did I not give any like great offers, but I also myself, I really wasn't really interested in giving up a lot,
Yeah.
If I could have made some like mid-level trade for like, I don't know, shortstop with some speed or something like that, or maybe, I don't know, a second baseman I thought maybe could help, but people were asking for more than I like felt like was worth it or wanted to give up,
So what you're saying is that you don't know, and trading is really hard.
Yeah, Yeah, in certain respects, it can be difficult. But there was nothing that I could get done. I tried. I looked. I certainly had a lot of offers, but nothing seemed to look like it was working out in my favor.
No, I'm just busting your balls.
Mm-hmm.
It's all good. Scott, how much did you get beat up as a teenager when you walked around like a tool rooting for the Cowboys as a front runner?
I have been a Cowboys fan for a long time, and they were good when I was in middle school, and the Seahawks are terrible. So, yeah, I was a front runner. But now, they've done nothing for, 14 years, so,
right.
I'm not a front runner. I like the squad.
But the question was, how much did you get beat up?
I was never beat up.
Really?
Really.
Okay.
Sorry to disappoint
No,
Brian.
it's all right. I have another question for you. Why, the user submitted again, why did your parents name you after toilet paper?
You'd have to ask them. I don't know. I'm really not sure. But Brian sure likes to give nicknames and hold on to them.
Yes. And I have one more final question from Brian, actually.
Brian, good. These all have been from Brian, I take it.
This is for both of you. How does it feel to be on the air with a lame duck defending champ?
That feels good.
He's a good host. He's doing a good job.
Yeah, I don't really know either, but it seems good.
I do have a question, though. I want to know about the infamous bet that went down. Jay and Craig.
Oh, man.
I wasn't here, but I want to know about
that was a huge mistake.
No, let's hear it. Walk us through the story, Craig. Let's go through the bet.
I'd rather not.
Too late. We got 8 minutes and we have nothing else to talk about. The bet.
It was fucked up, man.
Tell Scott what happened.
It was
I wasn't even here, so I need the whole story. What was the bet?
Tell Scott what
I was
happened.
in the wrong. I don't know. What can I say?
What were you in the wrong about?
I shouldn't have made the bet. I regret it.
What was the bet?
I don't even remember specifically. I think it was betting who won that final week of the season. Winner take all. The other person would leave the league or something along those lines.
That's it, Scott.
I don't remember specifically what it was.
Well, I'll fill you in.
All right, thanks.
My only question I had, was it a playoff matchup or regular season? Was it to get into the playoffs?
Jay's never won a playoff
matchup. I believe it was to get into the playoffs.
Okay, so last week of the season, Jay versus Craig. The winner of the matchup gets in the playoffs. The loser is out. Something very simple like that.
Mm-hmm.
They've been going back. They've been going. Yeah, it was just a week. They've been going back and forth all season. It was some vitriol for the other, and Jay proposes a bet. Jay says, "Craig, I don't like you very much, and you don't like me. So let's make a bet. Whoever wins this matchup stays in the league. Whoever loses has to resign from the league effective immediately." Jay wins the matchup. Craig says, "All right, see you later, guys. It's been fun." Fast forward, how long was it before you decided you didn't want to do the bet?
I don't know. There was a lot of outcry on the message board. And then it got me thinking, I don't know. And people were messaging me privately, which I never hear from anybody in the league, And I don't know, sort of changed my mind, I suppose.
Changed your mind? How?
It made me not want to leave the league, I don't know. You were there.
I'm just filling in Scott. This is for Scott's benefit.
All right.
Yeah,
you're doing good then,
And the interesting part about this is, Craig, is that I believe I was one of those people that told you that you don't have to resign if you don't want to. And,
yeah, I think so too.
But I think I only did that to see Jay lose it completely.
Did Jay lose it?
He definitely did. Yeah.
He lost. He lost his
also
mind.
contacted me privately too.
What was that?
Just basically begging for me to please leave. He was offering to buy me beer and stuff, and he's like, you just gotta go.
He was.
And I was like, I guess I don't want to.
Wait, he was bribing you to leave?
Well, not bribing me. He was just persuading me, you know.
What is the difference?
He's being really nice about it. He's like, yeah, I really have nothing against you. I just really need you out of here.
For what? To make him... Why?
No, I guess I don't know. He was not into me as a fantasy baseball manager. He just wanted me out.
Now, I do understand Jay's perspective, because I do believe that he is a guy that if he says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. So if you had beaten him...
Yeah.
If you had beaten him...
I said that to you. He probably would have left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why he was pissed, because I think it was...
Right.
It wasn't so much about the fact you were still in the league, but it was about the fact that he wouldn't be, because he would have taken the bet seriously, and you didn't.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that sounds right.
How much sleep did you lose over this bet? Because I bet he lost about 5 weeks worth.
No, not that much, really.
Did you lose any sleep over this bet?
While it was happening or afterwards?
Anytime. Anytime during...
Yeah, while it was happening.
It affected you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Did you talk to Darren's brother?
Really wanted to win.
Did you talk to Darren's brother to kind of get some advice?
No, I didn't consult anybody. I was just like, just mulling it over in my head a lot, At the time, I had a computer, and I was, staring at fantasy baseball, like, all day long.
Yeah.
So it was definitely on my mind a lot, Now
so you don't have a computer. You're doing all of your fantasy stuff on the iPad.
Yeah, and at work, yeah.
Okay. Scott, I have a question for you, bud.
Yep.
We got to wrap up, but as a litigator, what's the legal framework here for a verbal commitment among two parties that is written, but it wasn't just verbal, it was written on the board and agreed to?
I think Jay might have had a case had he taken it up. He might have had a case.
Had he gained counsel and taken it to court, he could have...
He could have enforced it. I think he could have enforced it.
All right. The only reason why maybe he couldn't have enforced it was because there was league rules that were contradicting the bet about not allowing outside bets and this and that. So you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
What is the rule on that?
No. The rule was that there is no rule that says that we uphold any. If you want to make side bets, you can make side bets, but there's no rule saying that any bet made between two parties is league sanctioned. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's why it came down the way it did. Scott? What do you think? Did we lose someone? Hello? Okay, well, I guess the takeaway for this week is that I don't know. Fantasy baseball is hard. The bet happened, and we have litigators that would agree with us. Scott, are you back? Oops, we've lost Scott. Craig is under. This is just becoming a disaster. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your playoffs, and we will see you next week in the League of Dicks Fantasy Baseball Podcast, the most competitive league in North America.